Doing any one of these things could be terrible for your skin, and I see people in my clinic that are doing several of these things at once. Today we're going to cover 9 of the worst things that you could do to your skin, and I want you to tell me at the end down in the comments how many of these you're personally guilty of, whether you do them now or you've done them in the past, because I'm going to give you my own confessions as we go. Welcome to the channel. If you're new here, I'm Dr. Dustin, and I make educational videos to help you have better skin and better health, and everything that I do on this channel helps support my cause of taking free dermatology care to underserved communities. So when you watch the videos, you subscribe, comment, or purchase any products down in the video description, it helps support my mission to provide free dermatology care to people who wouldn't get it otherwise. With that out of the way, let's jump into some of the worst things you can do for your skin, and if you're doing them, let's change those habits. The first mistake that I'm personally guilty of in the past, and I see many people making this mistake online or when they come into my clinic, is over-exfoliating, especially with physical scrubs. There is this concept that if you have acne or other skin problems, you just need to scrub it away. And when you're grabbing harsh physical scrubs, things with like walnut shells in them or other really gritty substances, and you're rubbing that all over your face, especially if you're pressing hard, you're actually going to start to cause micro tears in the skin. You could break down your skin barrier and actually lead to more acne, more eczema, or discoloration and inflammation. So if you want to exfoliate in your skincare routine, the best thing that you can do is pick a gentle chemical exfoliator. I like things like glycolic acid, salicylic acid. Use those 1 to 3 times a week at the most, as long as they're not too strong. And on those nights, you want to skip your retinol. You don't want to be doing a lot of other actives, but gentle chemical exfoliation a couple times a week is the safer approach without compromising your skin barrier. The second mistake may be one of the worst in my opinion, and that is skipping sunscreen or only using it when you're going to go out and it's sunny. The reality is that most of the sun damage that people get is from that little incidental exposure, from running errands, going to grab the mail, running to the store quick, or the commute to and from work, because UVA comes through window glass. So if you work by a window or you're driving, you're getting sun exposure through those sources. And just those little trips outside over time will add up to hours and hours of sun exposure over the course of a year. And all of that can increase your risk of premature aging on the skin, where you get dark spots, fine lines, wrinkles, and ultimately it increases your risk for skin cancer. So don't skip your sunscreen, and don't only reserve it for the really sunny, bright days when you're gonna go out for several hours. The best practice is to put it on every morning as part of your skincare routine, whether you plan to spend a lot of time outside or you plan to stay indoors, because then you're always going to be protected from that little incidental exposure, and you're less likely to show the signs of aging as you age, and you're less likely to get skin cancer. Many studies will back that up, so make sure that you wear your sunscreen. For my favorite sunscreen, I'm going to link it down in the video description. It's the Mantle Invisible Daily SPF. It's a gel sunscreen, and it goes on really smooth. Doesn't smell like sunscreen. I take it up all the way over my head. For our third mistake, I'm not sure how this really became a trend, but I saw it all over TikTok, especially in the early days of COVID, and that is DIY skincare. DIY skincare is the practice of going into your pantry or your refrigerator and grabbing foods, things like lemon juice or baking soda, and making masks and pimple remedies out of these things. But the reality is that when you have skincare products that are created for the skin, they are often pH balanced, and they're not going to tear apart your skin barrier. But when you start putting on acidic lemon juice or very basic baking soda, you're actually going to compromise your skin barrier, and you could alter the pH of your skin, where you increase the risk of infections and eczema and acne and inflammation and all sorts of other problems. So you should find skincare products that are meant to be placed on the face. Don't go into your pantry and expect to find a remedy there. You don't have to buy super expensive skincare products either. Just find brands that are reputable, that don't cost a lot of money, and you're going to see results with consistent use. Now, skincare mistake number 4 is something that I think is maybe a little bit of a newer problem when there's so many people online talking about skincare products and influencing to buy this product or buy that product. And that is that people use way too many active ingredients at once in their skincare routine. The problem with this is that if you're using a retinol, which can resurface the skin, and then you might be using an acid and a vitamin C and something to brighten and something to remove dark spots, all of these things can take a toll on your skin. And when you put on too many active products at once, you're going to end up drying out your skin and again leading to problems like acne, irritation, and inflammation. The best practice is to have a simple skincare routine that works for you. And just because you see a video recommending a new product doesn't mean that you need it in your skincare routine. Again, find brands that you like to work, that work within your price point, that are in your budget, and stick with them consistently. If in using those products, you're not resolving the skincare problems that you have, that's the time to go and look for alternative solutions and maybe replace something in your skincare routine. It doesn't always have to be a new addition to your skincare routine. So if you're using a retinol and you're just not seeing results and you want to try a chemical exfoliator, stop the retinol for a while and grab that glycolic acid product or that salicylic acid product and use that for 6 to 8 weeks and see if you get better results from it. But don't do too many things all at once. Number 5 is something that I'm definitely guilty of, and that is picking or popping your pimples. This is a temptation for pretty much anybody that has a pimple that pops up on their face. And I actually talked about this on a video just last week of things to do if you have an emergency pimple. So I'll leave that video right up here for you guys to check out, how to make a pimple go away fast. But if you do get a pimple, just know that when you start popping and trying to squeeze and get everything out of there, sometimes those pimples don't just break open out of the skin, they can break open underneath the skin as well. And if that pus is getting farther under the skin, you're increasing your risk for infection. You're going to get more redness, more inflammation. You're going to increase your risk of scarring. And at the very least, the pimple is going to be way more visible than it would have been otherwise. Instead, there's so many better things to do with a pimple. And one of those is just to put on a pimple patch and keep your fingers off of it. I have way more tips in that video that I referenced. So check that out if you need more emergency pimple treatment tips. Now, number 6 is something that a lot of people overlook, and that is not using your skincare on the neck or on the back of the hands. I have so many patients that come in that have been wearing sunscreen and using retinol on their face for years. They've got a great skincare routine and it's working well for them, but they come in and they're really starting to see the signs of aging on the back of their hands or on their neck and chest. The reality is that most of the skincare products that you use on your face, you can certainly take down onto the back of your hands, on your neck, and on your chest. Now, if you're using a retinol or something that exfoliates, you may need to dilute it a little bit with a moisturizer before you put it on these areas because they are going to be a little bit more sensitive, but you can help fight the signs of aging by using those products in those other areas, and especially making sure that you're using sunscreen on those areas, because when you're putting sunscreen on your face, you just need to carry it down a little bit further to avoid some of that pigmentation, lines, and wrinkles that might occur on the neck, and make sure you get the back of the hands, especially when you're driving and your hands are up there under the glass for hours at a time. The number 7th worst thing you can do to your skin happens because people just don't understand the physiology of our skin, and that is using really aggressive products to try to shrink your pores. There's things that people do at home that they have no business doing trying to shrink your pores. The reality is you can't shrink your pores. Your pore size is like your shoe size, and you're not going to change it. There are things that you can do to help decongest your pores that might minimize their appearance, but you're not actually shrinking the pores. But sometimes people at home are using really aggressive derma rolling to try to get rid of the pores. They're using acids that are stronger that you really shouldn't be buying, but they're finding them from black market sources, or they're using DIY skincare to try to strip the skin barrier, thinking that all of this is going to help. The reality is that everybody has pores, and pores are normal on the skin. And so sebaceous filaments are the most common thing that you're going to see on the nose. If you have true blackheads and whiteheads, there are effective ways to treat that using retinol or salicylic acid, but you're not going to actually shrink the size of your pores by being harsh on your skin. Again, that's just something that's going to lead to more problems. Don't go trying to decrease the size of your pores. Number 8 might be a little more specific to the female population watching this video, and that is sleeping with your makeup on. You should make sure that you wash your face and take off your makeup at the end of the day before you get in bed, even if you've been out having a good time and you're tired. Maybe you've had a couple things to drink and you're maybe not so with it, but you need to do something to get the makeup off, because when you leave the makeup on, you've also got dirt, you've got oil and sweat trapped in there, and that's going to plug your pores. It's going to lead to breakouts. It's going to lead to eczema potentially, because that stuff needs to come off of the skin. You need a fresh face before you go to bed. So make sure that you take the time to get the makeup off before you turn in for the night. If you're going to go out and have a party, whatever you want to do, and you think it's going to be a challenge, you could put some makeup wipes right next to your bed, and you could do that at the very least before you go to sleep. It's better than nothing, even though I generally don't recommend a ton of makeup wipes, but they're good in a pinch. So you can pre-plan that, and if you're going to be out, put the makeup wipes by the side of your bed, put down your Tylenol or your aspirin and a big glass of water so you can hydrate in the morning when you wake up. Take your makeup off before you go to bed. And number 9, and our final skincare mistake, is following every social media trend without consulting with a professional. You may have great skin and somebody posts about a new product and you think, this is great, I would love my skin to look even better, but it may not be an appropriate product or procedure for you. So just because the results look good online doesn't mean that it's going to be right for you. And you have to understand that companies do want to market to you, and they want you to believe that you have a problem when you might not have a problem with your skin. Or there are people that are false advertising on social media. Heck, I had one of my videos stolen and used as an ad for the Green Mask Stick company, which was a complete false product. Very false promises, but they made it look like I was endorsing a product when I was actually trashing the product. So it's very frustrating to see that kind of stuff, but the reality is you don't need to chase every skincare trend. Most of you can just keep your routine simple and be consistent with it, and you don't need to jump on the bandwagon for every product that you happen to see. Now, if you are treating a specific problem, let's take dark spots for example, and you have a serum that you've been using and the results have been okay, but you'd like to make more progress, and then you see a new product for dark spots, that's totally fine to try to swap that out and try the new one for several weeks to see if you get a better result from it. But just because there's a new product advertising a cure to a new problem doesn't mean you should jump on it. And if you have questions, I recommend talking to a board-certified dermatologist to see what is best for you in your routine. If you can't get into a dermatologist, there's many skilled estheticians that can also help counsel you on a skincare routine. Just be mindful that when you go to a dermatologist or an esthetician, most of us, and I include myself in this, we sell our own products out of the office, so there is a financial incentive to recommend products for you that they happen to have in stock or that I happen to have in stock. It doesn't mean that they're bad products, but just know that there's a conflict of interest if you're buying it from that particular office. I really try to make an effort to recommend products that are available in my office and both over the counter. And yeah, I lose sales because of that, but my ultimate goal is to get the right product in the hands of the right patient so that they can correct the skincare issues that they happen to have. Now, when we look back at this, I'm certainly guilty of over-exfoliating, picking and popping my pimples. When I was younger, I definitely skipped sunscreen all the time, and I've had some pretty bad burns on my back. I've even had some of the moles biopsied because they started to look a little funny. Thankfully, mine have always been okay. Even today, I still sometimes struggle to put my skincare down on the hands or on the neck. I don't really expose my chest a lot, so that's not something that I worry about. And I've never slept with makeup on, so that one I definitely have followed. But those are some of the skincare mistakes I've made. Which ones have you made, and which ones are you continuing to make that we need to work on? Guys, thank you so much for watching the video. I hope you found this helpful. If you make any of these mistakes, I'm not trying to call you out, just they're things you can learn from and hopefully have better skin. But I want to know what questions you guys have. Leave them down in the comments on the video there. And remember, any products that I recommend here in this video help support the mobile clinic and my desire to take free dermatology care to as many people as possible. I appreciate you watching the channel, and I'll see you guys on the next video.